Texas A&M beat Auburn 16-10. Give me 1.5 Chalai on this one. Not the most aesthetically pleasing game in the world. There was desperation in the air for Auburn, and it was a weird game because it was a moment that Auburn had to have, but they had to go into College Station, and A&M's off a bye, so situational dynamics, it's just totally against Auburn. Auburn needed this, and I also thought about A&M. How are they going to handle success? There was a lot of talk amongst A&M fans, the smarter at least, the more seasoned A&M fans, that, hey, it's great that we won at Notre Dame, but now we won at Notre Dame, now we're going to have a bye, and everyone is going to be able to just bask for 2 weeks. And yeah, we're coming out of a bye, and yeah, we're at home, but we got a desperate team coming in. And there was some concern. And there was valid concern. Frankly, A&M finds a way to lose those kind of games in the past. But let me explain the Mike Elko effect, because that's it. I'm convinced A&M of years past loses that game. Inexplicably, somehow, some way, you're left with your jaw on the ground. Maybe you're in the stadium. Maybe you're watching at home. You know that feeling? It's called battered Aggie syndrome. You've had it for a long time because you find ways to lose those games. Well, yesterday they had 13 penalties for 119 yards. They were 3 of 14 on third down. They lost the turnover battle. They had no passes over 25 yards. They missed 2 field goals, and they won a football game. And that's the Mike Elko effect, because you know there'll be days where it clicks. We just saw one in South Bend not too long ago. You know there'll be days where it's humming offensively. Can you win when you don't have your fastball? How many different ways can you win? Are you a Swiss Army knife? Or are you just kind of a one-trick pony and someone figures that out and you're screwed, you're dead in the water? Well, we know that's not A&M. We're starting to learn. They held Auburn to 10 points, 177 total yards. They ran for over 200 on what I considered to be one of the best rush defenses in the country. You're just finding more and more ways to win. So that's what's important with Texas A&M. The biggest takeaway for me, if you're asking what was important about this in some 16-10 win, well, it's a conference win. That's the first thing. The second thing is I've watched them win 2 distinctively different types of ways now. They had to go outscore Notre Dame on the road, and then they won a rock fight at home when they clearly don't have their best stuff against a very desperate Auburn team. December's a long way away. You don't have to have it all figured out in September. Hardly anyone does. You're still evolving. The best teams get better. The best staffs make sure their teams are getting better. I think A&M's getting better. How many tools do you have in the bag come December? Are you at the table in December? And if you are, how many tools do you have in the bag? Well, now I've seen Marcel Reed, explosivity in the passing game. I saw him run for over 200 yesterday. I've seen him improve defensively. You figure out who you are. That's about forming identity. I'm figuring out who you are. You're figuring out who you are. There's no need to be gloomy, and I'm not the only one saying it. Mike Elko, take it away.
Does anybody want to ask a question about like us being 4-0 for the first time since 2016, or how did the defense bounce back, or how about you held them to 176 yards on offense and you had 5 sacks and they were 0 for 12 on third down and 0 for 2 on fourth down and you got the return game going again? Like, I don't mean to sound like someone else, but my gosh, will you guys stop being so dreadful and gloomy?
Well, we're only halfway through this.
Yeah. Next one.
I mean, seriously. What's the matter with you people? Billy Lucci's got to get Texas A&M in check. We can't have this. We cannot have this. I have no idea what Auburn is defensively or offensively. I have no idea. Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. Who or what Auburn is offensively. I expected them to go into this game and compete. And the score was close, but I expected them to have at least a 2-to-1 run-to-pass ratio, because that was their only path to me to winning the game. And they ended up 33 passes, 24 rushes, and it really was a wider margin than that, because all of the sacks, and there were several of them, again, count as rushes. So they tried to throw the ball to win, and that's not happening. It's not happening not because you can't get guys open, and because you don't have good receiver talent, you don't have the quarterback to get it to them. It's just a failed experiment. The Jackson Arnold experiment is just a failed experiment, and it's probably not going to get better because playing Georgia and Missouri and Bama at Vanderbilt doesn't tend to make it better. And now they're a 3-2 team, and there are probably several more losses come in, and it's going to get worse on the schedule, but it's going to get worse tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Auburn, the Sarah McLachlan special. It was a must-have game, and they were outgained 414 to 177. A&M had more rush yards than you had total yards. A&M had more pass yards than you had total yards. And A&M didn't exactly light it on fire offensively yesterday. You were just that bad. They doubled you up on first downs. Auburn was 0 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down. Another 5 sacks. Another 6 tackles for loss. In winning time, the 4th quarter winning time, Auburn had 1 total yard. 52 yards rushing was their lowest output in several years. I unfortunately have here Auburn's drive chart. 3 and out, 3 and out, punt. 3 and out, field goal, 3 and out. We head into the locker room, halftime adjustments. Second half, turnover on downs, punt. Touchdown drive of 2 yards. 3 and out, 3 and out, turnover on downs. It's just a failed experiment. It's dead in the water. I have no clue where they're going to go from here. One thing I've learned about college football, the SEC, is you don't reinvent yourself on the fly. Once the plane's already off the ground, there are only so many repairs you can make. They're trying to rebuild the plane at 30,000 feet. And I think we know what happens to a plane when you try and rebuild it at 30,000 feet. Your Sarah McLachlan special, the Auburn Tigers. It takes a lot out of me to do that. It really does. But I will tell you this. Tailgating, you have essentials. Okay, we all know that. Flex Power, a new partner of ours. We've been having a lot of fun with them. When I walk through tailgating scenes, I've always noticed the canopies, the food, the grills, but I also noticed the generators. We badly wanted a partner that completes the tailgating experience. Flex Power does. And so, if you are familiar with setting up your tailgate scene, you probably rely on a generator anyway. We have friends of the program now that can provide you with the 3300i generator specifically over at myflexpower.com. And I'd say the same thing about Flex Power that I'd say about Quick Trip. I know you need fuel to get to the game. Just check out one of our friends. Academy Sports and Outdoors, check out one of our friends. Flex Power, friend of the program in a big way. And these are folks who watched the show long before we ever got in business with them, which is why we got in business with them. So if you need the generator, it could be for tailgating. It could just be if you're scared storms are going to knock the power out, as they often do. myflexpower.com can and will help you out, and we appreciate them.